morning and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will be taking questions at the end of the webinar. In order to submit your questions, we ask that you chat them to us. The chat icon is available on the top right of your screen, and you just click the chat bubble and you can then chat your question to us, and we'll be happy to address those questions at the end of the presentation. John, would you like to get things started?
I will. Lauren, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Well, again, good morning, and perhaps for our friends in Europe, good afternoon. We are delighted to have you join us. We have dozens of people joining us today for one of two webinars that will be focusing on how to increase sales with TESSALink. So we'll show you how to do that. If you or your colleagues would like to join us, we are having another webinar later this afternoon, and that is specifically for the customers that are going to be running a little bit later in the day, and our Asian and Australian customers, but everyone of course is welcome for that, and we'll give you a little bit of information about how to join that if you would like to. Hopefully you're going to be enthusiastic and excited about some of the things you hear today, and we'll pass that on to others. We'll also explain at the end about how you go ahead and get started with what I'm going to show you today. So we definitely will cover that before we wrap things up. All right, I am John Simmerl. I am the head of sales and marketing at TESSALink. And like you, we've been thinking a lot about the current environment that we're all in from a business perspective. And it is definitely different and difficult from a sales perspective. I want to share with you some of our insights and then also show you directly how you can use the TESSALink software that you own to actually build your business in a way that makes a lot of sense for you, but also fills critical gaps for your customer. All right. So everyone's asking the question of when's the new normal going to arrive? And one of the best characterizations I've heard is right now we're in the world of never normal. We see this every day. I suspect you do. Your customers' priorities are changing and at an unprecedented rate. They're rethinking how they're going to spend their money, how they're going to leverage your products and services in new and different ways. So one of the key questions we've been asking ourselves, and I've been going out and talking to my network about, is what is selling in today's never normal market? Well, the good news for us is we work with many customers already. They're buying your equipment, they're buying our software, and those trusted relationships are critical to ongoing sales at this point in our professional lives. Customers are very skeptical of new vendors simply because they have no track record. And they are looking for proven performers who have helped them grow their business and delivered real value to their business. We have seen that existing customers' reorders from a sales perspective are about 4 times easier, maybe 10 times easier in this environment than doing new business. Not saying that new business doesn't work, but you have an unfair advantage when you're working with your existing customers because you're tied into what they're doing and even privy to the expansion projects that they're considering. Second, helping your customer increase their revenue is a critical way to get their attention and get past the desire to cut costs or reduce costs. What we're doing today is we're actually focusing in on this second point and pointing you directly at some things you can do with our software to increase your revenue. And we believe that this will drive new business opportunities for you, and we're going to show you how to do that very explicitly. Many times we sell solutions on soft benefits. We're going to improve your efficiencies. We are going to reduce this cost here or there. While those things are good, they're less persuasive in this environment. Soft efficiencies are hard to prove, and our customers are extremely skeptical about that. But we do have an underlying desire to help them improve their equipment utilization and eliminate, in particular, operational disruptions. You know us as a safety company, and that's what we are to our core. But what we're also doing by working on improving safety and keeping that equipment ready to go and useful is we're eliminating, in particular, operational disruptions that are extremely costly to your customers. And then finally, we have seen our customers starting to work on their 2021 budgets. And they're thinking hard about the projects that they're going to fund for the next 12 months. And this is a perfect time to inject yourself into that project budget cycle to make sure that at the beginning of the year, they will include you in their funding initiatives and their major projects that include your equipment and services. So these are the kinds of things that sell today in the never normal, but in particular, leveraging your trusted relationships in ways that increase your customers' revenue will be the most effective, we believe. So you are TESSALink customers, and you have heard us talk in the past about how we provide the safety guarantee and the wrapper, the software wrapper around your great equipment to ensure that your customers can use it and that your service providers can, your service teams can effectively service the equipment that you sell. I'm sorry, Lauren, I'm getting some background noise. Okay.
Yes, I'm muting anyone that comes unmuted. Just for some housekeeping, we are just keeping everybody muted just to help cut down on background noise. Thank you.
Thank you. So today, our software as a service is referred to as CertNet. Some of you are still in our classic pricing model where you've purchased seats or additional capabilities like Test Bench. But the CertNet product line is extensive. You can see all the pieces here. I'm not going to walk you through this, but you can see the capabilities that we provide with the underlying idea that equipment safety compliance is a team sport, meaning that we want to help you and your customers by leveraging our software to collaborate around safety. Now, what may not be obvious is when you collaborate around safety, that can actually turn into revenue for you. Today, we're going to talk about a new capability called CertCheck, which does that in particular. And on the surface, it looks very much like and is a pre-job safety check piece of software. But you'll see shortly how it's used to generate leads. Okay.
Welcome to TESSALink CertCheck. If you're looking to make sure your equipment is safe to use or report that equipment needs service, you've come to the right place. You can find the status of your equipment by scanning a high-frequency RFID chip, a barcode or QR code, or by typing in the asset number. To scan HF RFID, first make sure the NFC reader on your device settings is turned on. Tap the chip scan button on the home screen and touch the back of your device to the HF chip to quickly scan. You may need to find the sweet spot on your device to read the chip. TESSALink CertCheck will search the Cert Vault for the latest information on your equipment. CertCheck will tell you when the equipment was certified, when it expires, and a description of the equipment. Press the cert icon to download the latest certification. Press the back button to go to the home screen to perform another cert check. To scan a barcode or QR code, tap the barcode scan button to open the camera on your device and center the barcode on the red line. If the chip or barcode is not reading properly, navigate to the home screen and tap the manual entry button. Type in the entire asset number into the ID field and press the cert check button. If your equipment needs service or you need a replacement piece of equipment, press the flag button to contact the creator of the equipment and send a message. Enter your preferred contact information, add a note, set an urgency, and press the flag button to send your message. This will send an email to the equipment creator and they will contact you as soon as possible. If you have any more questions about TESSALink or TESSALink Cert Check, visit TESSALink.com. TESSALink. Go TESSALink, go digital.
So that very enthusiastic presenter is Dylan Sewell, who is also on the call with us today. Many of you know Dylan from our success team and is one of our product owners. So what I'm going to tell you right now or show you right now is how turning what we think of as red to green is both a safety prerogative, but also a revenue opportunity for you. So you've just seen a brand new capability that all of our customers have access to. We'll explain how you get that at the end, called Cert Check. And Cert Check on its surface is a extremely important capability for employees on the job site to do pre-job safety checks, to check a piece of equipment on the spot to see if it's safe to use. Now, what may not be obvious to you is how does that actually impact your business in terms of revenue or sales opportunities, and we're going to show you that in just a second. One of our customers, Mike Mortensen at Alaska Rubber Group, said that he believes that Cert Check will make their certificates 10 to 100 times more valuable to their end user customer. His concern today is that his team creates these safety certificates. They're extremely well done and certify the safety of their equipment, but they sit in the cloud and are not accessed easily. Cert Check, quoting Mike, is easy enough for a kindergartner with 2 clicks and an iPhone to be able to pull up their certificate information. So let me show you how you turn red to green, and in this case, not just from a safety perspective, but from a sales perspective. So imagine a field tech in the field who has been called out to inspect a piece of equipment. How do you know that a piece of equipment needs an inspection? Well, the TESSALink system generates reports that are available to the sales team and others to know when and where that equipment is. So your field tech has arrived at that site and is tracking down that piece of equipment. And we know when you scan it in with something like Cert Check, it will come back as a red, meaning needing service or an inspection. What you also know is that when you do that inspection, you run through your checklist, you do a test, perhaps you're there to chip that asset so that you have a unique identifier on it. Those services are all things that you charge back to your customer and are extremely valuable to them in terms of their employee safety, but also from an audit and compliance perspective. And that is meat and potato stuff that we do today with TESSALink. Talking to our customers, they tell us that one of the main things they do to attract new business is that they will do a survey, a courtesy survey of a site when they come in. So it's your same inspector, but in this case, they either have an agreement with the customer or they ask permission to just wander around and check the safety of equipment that they may have concerns about or that they're just surveying. I'm told that this may be one of the #1 ways to generate revenue by using your inspectors to flag equipment that needs the safety certifications. So in this case, our tech, Fred, is there looking at not just one asset, but many. And you can see that by using CertCheck, he immediately discovers that, yes, there are greens there, but you have a yellow, and a yellow means that shortly, usually within the next 30 days, the safety certificate will expire. That's an opportunity to go ahead and do that inspection for those industrial hoses sooner rather than later. And you have an expired safety certificate, that's the red X. And most interestingly, and we'll come back to this, you have a question mark, meaning a piece of equipment that's never been registered, chipped, and inspected in the system. And that is a significant revenue opportunity to you. So let's go back to those yellows and reds. By doing the inspections, and even more so on that unknown piece of equipment, going through an inspection process, chipping it, registering it in the system, that is all billable work. And once you bring a piece of equipment into the system, now you have been inserted into the reorder cycle of that piece of equipment, even if it's your competitor's equipment. So what CertCheck can help you identify are the unsafe assets that are sitting on a job site and insert you directly into the safety and revenue cycle for those assets. Now, of course, that's just Fred, and he doesn't get out to that site all that often. But many of you are working with either the safety office or the operational purchasing team, and they will have a team available to go out and use CertCheck. So this is a case where Sally, I should say, is a safety officer, and she wants to do a site survey of the equipment that's there to understand where the safety gaps are, essentially what's red, what's green, and what's coming up as a yellow. The real leverage here is, instead of just your field tech, if you can work with your customers to improve the safety of their site by doing these safety surveys, they can easily use CertCheck. Literally, you download it from the App Store, make sure you use the full name CertCheck as one word. You can find it there, and you can run these checks with 2 clicks. And it's a 2-click and you're done kind of app. But every time they do that, if they find a red in particular, you're going to know about that, and that becomes a revenue opportunity to fix that safety gap that's at that site, whether that was your original equipment or not. So getting the safety team on your side or the operational team on your side by doing regular CertChecks is a great way to generate leads. So Sally sends out her team, and of course, a team like that can look at a lot of equipment, and it will be common, especially as you start, that there will be some yellows and some greens. Usually it'll be your equipment that's green, by the way, something to be very proud of, but you will be having the reds, either equipment that has expired perhaps and needs to be re-inspected to be sure that it's safe, or that, more importantly, has never been seen before and registered in the system, and that's the question mark. So again, the system will easily flag this. If you get your end user customer out using CertCheck, they're actually sending you leads when they turn up those yellows and reds. The yellows are really opportunities for you to reach out to them and make sure they know you've got it covered. So what happens when they do that? Again, your inspector or inspection team, depending on the variety of equipment that's there, comes in and can certify that equipment. Again, that's a process of recertification, perhaps a rebuild, non-destructive testing, and if it's never been seen before, registration and identification or chipping to ensure that that piece of equipment is now in the safety system. But going back to this for a second, notice that the revenue opportunity associated with this is not the same. The question marks in particular have the highest revenue opportunity because they involve multiple steps to bring that into the safety system. And the motivation for the end user customer is both a safety and operational motivation. They do not want uncertified equipment being used because it represents not only a safety risk to their employees and their site, but because, and fundamentally, it represents an operational risk where a piece of equipment fails and shuts down the site on an unscheduled basis. That last situation is extremely expensive for them, and one of the main reasons they do business with you for your equipment, because they expect it to be reliable and be inspected and safe so that it will never disrupt operations. So here is the ultimate revenue generator. If your inspectors go out and start to survey the job sites and spend a little bit of time doing this, they are going to recognize equipment that is unsafe and needs to be replaced. This is the ultimate revenue generator. Our customers tell us that equipment replacement, the cost of that can run between 10 and 100 times more than the actual inspection. And you want to be able to capture that replacement order and bring that piece of equipment into your sales cycle. By inserting yourself into the safety inspection cycle and using CertCheck, your inspectors, your field techs will be able to identify other equipment that is not safe and needs replacement and that you ideally can replace. This is the biggest revenue opportunity that you have using safety as a mechanism to identify it and generate that lead. So I want to summarize what I just took you through because that's the message. We have a two-step and you're done app called CertCheck, all one word, available in the Android and Apple stores today. You can use that to not only identify safety gaps for your customer, a very important service, but also identify revenue opportunities at the same time for your company. To do this, your inspectors, your field techs, your testers need to get familiar with CertCheck and work with your customers to provide ad hoc or even organized site surveys to make sure that all the equipment on that site is safe. When you do that, you not only have opportunities for inspection and testing and chipping revenue, but ultimately you become part of the replacement cycle and earn the right to at least bid, if not outright take the reorder from your competition. So that is the idea behind CertCheck. Turning red to green means two things. Obviously, turning a red safety situation to green keeps everyone safe and is something that's extremely valuable to the operations people. But you're also taking a situation where you're not making money today on a piece of equipment to one where you do make money and turn it green for your company and yourself and your sales efforts. This leverages, going back to the underlying premise of what sells today, one, your ongoing relationship with those customers. It actually firms it up. They see you as a proactive member of their team, working very hard to keep their equipment safe and, most importantly, operational. And at the same time, they can see that you do benefit, and that's fine. It's a fair deal from providing those inspection services and those equipment replacement services. So at our core, we at TESSALink believe we make the world a safer place. And by working with customers like you, providing the very best equipment and the safety software, our safety software wrapped around that equipment, you're helping your customers maintain their safety and operational effectiveness. We are part of your safety guarantee. You own this software. We're not asking you to spend more with us to use CertCheck. Depending on the licensing agreement you have with us, but for many of you, you're already in the CertNet model where you receive all of this capability. You know that we do safety certificates. We keep this information for the entire life of an asset, but most importantly now, we're making that information much more visible and useful for your end user customer. It's something they gain access to on the job site routinely on a daily basis. We expect that CertCheck will quickly become the most commonly used capability we have from TESSALink, because we're encouraging people to use it not only on an ad hoc basis, but on a daily basis to make sure that their equipment is safe. By the way, every time they check a piece of equipment that you have provided and certified, your brand is part of that report that they get. So they know, for instance, that that piece of equipment came from you, and it's reinforcing that relationship and your brand with that customer. So the final point is the CertNet capabilities are free to your customer. There's no cost for them to use CertCheck. There is a process that you have to go through in order to activate it, and I'm going to explain that in just a minute. So finally, what's our motivation? Well, it's very simple. If you go back to the underlying premise of what sells today, we believe if we help you sell, we benefit. The more pieces of equipment that have our software wrapped around it, the more registrations that occur, the more valuable we are for all of our customers. So by helping you grow your business, in fact, we are helping ourselves grow our business. So just so you know what's in it for us, it's just that simple. We care because when you sell, we both benefit. All right, I'm about to open it up for questions. Please put your questions into the chat. We have a couple from previous meetings we've had to start this off, but let me explain quickly about how you can access CertCheck. So CertCheck needs to be turned on. You can download it very easily today from the app stores. I mentioned that. The main thing you need to know is it's one word, CertCheck, not two words, and download that. But it will not work initially for your assets unless you call us, in particular Christian Lowe, our strategic account manager, and he will have this capability turned on for your assets. That makes it available for both your team and your customers to be able to do the very easy CertCheck process. There's really no learning curve with CertCheck. The little video that you saw is actually linked directly to the app, and it explains how it's used. So we've meant to make it as easy as possible to start using this, and we do have customers using it already, and they're confirming it's much easier than other pieces of our software at this point. If you have other questions about how we can help you sell or suggestions on things we could provide as part of our product line, I encourage you to reach out not only to Christian, but to me. We are always focused on improving our software, and part of that improvement is helping you sell more of your fine equipment. So if you have ideas on how we can do that and streamline that process, we are very, very interested in hearing about it. So please don't hesitate to contact me, or if you would like us to brief, as we have for some of our customers, a larger portion of your sales force and your field team about this capability, we're glad to do that. Again, Christian is generally your go-to person. Okay, Lauren, do you have any questions? And I'm going to make sure Dylan and Christian, you're here, and I may ask you to pick up on some of these. So
Yes.
Here we go. What do you got?
We have received our first question. If we need help using the report functions in TESSALink, can this be covered, or can we set up a time to have some help with this?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Any of our capability, we have both training services or online support to help you get that information. You can call our support number to understand how that is done. We have online resources around reporting. Now, there is an important report that I did not show with CertCheck called the Daily CertCheck Report, which is basically a summary of all the CertChecks that have occurred against your equipment in the last day, and highlight the status, meaning the reds and the greens, but also the location of that equipment. CertCheck records the location automatically when it checks a piece of equipment, and it captures the comments and contact information that you saw in our little video that allow you to close the loop with your customer or with your inspector. So there is a very interesting daily report for CertCheck that we will want to show you. Other questions, Lauren?
Yes, another question we received is, will this webinar be uploaded to our YouTube channel? The answer to that is yes. And if you would be more than welcome to go back a little later and review that video with your team. We also have an additional webinar that will be running this evening at 6:15 Central Standard Time. So just wanted to let you all know about that. And then another question we have is, what ways have customers, or what ways have some of your other customers decided to use CertCheck so far?
Yeah, that's very interesting. That's a great question. Thank you. I think we're going to discover over the next month multiple uses for CertCheck. We designed it originally to be a very simple pre-job safety check. The idea being is that the equipment operator can, on a daily basis, just scan in a piece of equipment, get a green, and go, and do that on a regular basis as part of the safety culture. That was the original concept of this. We have recognized now that it's being used for a couple of other things. We see customers starting to use this as they batch in equipment. Let's say they're a utility company that's bringing in a batch of transformers for rebuild and retrofit. As they leave the shop as a batch, they will CertCheck to make sure that all of that equipment, in fact, the registration and the certifications are current and popping up. So this is a final quality control step coming out of the shop floor. We've seen that use. We are hearing from our customers that are offshore that they have ad hoc inspections and audits from the Coast Guard. And this is, again, something that quickly any employee can literally point their iPhone at a piece of equipment, scan it, and show an inspector like the Coast Guard on the spot that that piece of equipment is green. And they not only can do that, it actually brings up the safety certificate as we showed that. We're seeing customers forward those safety certificates as proof. And so we're seeing that other option And then finally, and this was unanticipated, we're seeing people generate business by doing walkarounds on different customer sites and or safety briefings. It's common on many sites to do a daily safety briefing. We're starting to see the safety office and the operational people use CertCheck as a daily, as a topic to get their employees directly involved in that safety culture that also improves their operational utilization. So we're seeing multiple uses of this. Very simple app, very simple. No login, none of that stuff. It's extremely simple, but it has multiple uses because it shows people the information that's sitting in the cloud, or what we call the Cert Vault, routinely, instead of having it sit remotely and only accessible by the field tech or the safety office. Any other questions? And by the way, we hope you'll tell us about your experiences with this. We fully expect that over the next few weeks, we're going to hear about another half dozen or dozen uses for CertCheck that we did not anticipate. Other questions, Lauren?
Yes, one last question so far. How do I get CertCheck set up for my team?
Right. So thank you very much for that question. The answer is you call Christian, and you can see his phone number here, and talk to him. Let's make sure that you have the proper licensing, and then we will turn it on. CertCheck does not work for your assets until we turn it on in the background. So you will need to make that call for us to flip the switch. But Christian Lowe, you've got his contact information on this screen, is the person to go to. He will make that happen. The next step is really quite simple. As you go to the app stores, this is already there, and you can download the app for either Apple or your Android device by searching for CertCheck, one word, CertCheck. It'll pop right up and you can download it. There is no login, there is no setup associated with this. The only really is the background step where Christian needs to turn on your CertCheck system. Okay, other questions, Lauren?
That is the last question we've received. We really appreciate all of you attending this webinar, and really appreciate your time. Any further kind of final comments, John or Christian?
Again, we thank you very much for your business. I will leave this where I leave it with my sales team every time I talk to them. Get out there, have a good day, and for goodness sake, sell something. So hopefully CertCheck will help you do that. But that's our mantra. We believe a lot in the quality of our software and the benefits we deliver. I know you feel exactly the same way about your equipment. Hopefully this will help you sell more of it and the services that go with it. So, and let us know how that goes. We're very, very interested. We'll be tracking this in the background. We have metrics for all this, but we're very, very interested in your experience. And of course, we'll want to improve it as we use this in the field. Thank you, everyone. Please, the biggest thing you can do for us is tell your friends about TESSALink and encourage your sales partners to learn about CertCheck so that you gain more benefit from our software as you sell more. Thank you very much. Again, we're very lucky to have you as our customers, and we would like you all to know we want to make sure you're safe and well.
Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.